First thing I kind of want to know is, I suppose it was a little bit unknown. You hadn't done a pro, had you, since, was it 2024?
21 months ago, yeah, March 24, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different in terms of, like, you're obviously, like, you did really, really well in the open weight, but it was a bit unknown in terms of, like, how you'd go in the heavier weight class category. So it was quite hard to predict a time, wasn't it? So you went in, obviously hoping to beat 1 hour 22, and we ended up getting around that mark, but Hammy had gone a little bit, which is going to affect it, and we'll look at the stats as well down the line. But what's your, like, overall feel for it? I was tracking you. We were on our Christmas do on the night out, and I was tracking you along, thinking something's gone wrong here.
Yeah.
But go on.
So here's what I thought. So going into it, I had the sense that, and I spoke to you about this, I had the sense that I was strong, probably stronger than I've ever been going into HYROX, actually, because based on the training that I'd done on the week building up and recording with the equivalent 1 rep maxes and stuff like that. So I felt strong. Running, in terms of, like, my running speed, like, is there. And in terms of how I approached it, I had a long wait. I was in London for 3 days, and I was the last person on at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. But I think I prepped really well as I can. You can do, like, when you're away from home. Obviously, I don't have access to my own food as such, but I just made sure I had, like, plenty of calories coming in. I did my little, I class it as a cheat code. Like, go to the cinema. So I went to the cinema for, like, 3-hour film, like, in the afternoon. Just get, like, rather than walking around London all day or whatever, it was just, I'm going to go and sit, chill out, get my head into something else. Warm up went really well. Super relaxed. Nice and low heart rate on the start line, but not like, I don't need, what do they say about, like, you, in terms of, like, pre-game, you want to be a certain level of arousal that you're not falling asleep, but then not, like, super nervous, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I just need to push it down. I don't need any extra nerves or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was super chilled. I felt it was very similar, probably, to be fair, to my Glasgow PB that I'd done, the open PB. We set off, and my game plan was just, now we don't have my lactate threshold numbers, because I wasn't able to get in with red on. But I thought, I'm just going to approximate around, like, a 164 hard limit for the runs. And then, which basically, well, I did use ChatGPT to give me a kind of a rough idea based on, so it was between 164 and whatever the lower bound was. I can't remember. And I just went off that for the runs and the aerobic stuff. And well, two things. One, I think it actually helped me relax and not worry so much about pace, because as long as I was kind of keeping a lid on it, I was able to just kind of get going. Now, my running speed, I averaged about 430 per 1K, something like that, which, when you look at it versus my PB, is that was around 415. But I think, based on my overall fitness, I think that's probably about right, because we've done so much on strength, which was always part of the strategy, strength and injury prevention as well. Because another thing, obviously, we started talking about my injuries, but the last 12 months or 13 months, I've been injury free, other than just after this HYROX. So that's,
Yeah,
like, a really big win, isn't it? Because
definitely.
someone who doesn't have a full knee, then it's always going to be an issue. So, So yeah, so that was the approach going to the race. Sat around 4:30s. Got into the ski, sort of similar approach. I really don't want to blow up on the ski because my ski has been one thing that hasn't felt as good. It never feels good. It's always one of my worst. So I was like, it's not worth blowing up over it. I'm just gonna. And actually, I felt really good on the ski. Don't get me wrong, I was a little bit slower than those next to me in my wave, but I was proper chill and my heart rate was really low. And I still did it in like averaging like 2:10 pace, something like that. And then continued on, same strat with a run. Push obviously is difficult in the pro, but pretty solid. I was going to prepare videos, but I've not been able to upload them. Sorry. So, and the push, I did. I know, like people say, not to go unbroken on the push, but I did feel good. And I think I did a length, little shakeout, a length, and then a length and a break, then a length and a break sort of thing. And if you want to interject with times while you're looking at that,
Yeah, I'm
feel
loading them up
free.
now, actually.
So yeah, like when I compared my push to the people next to me, the sort of bigger lads, they were doing faster, but with a break. Whereas I was kind of like a little tortoise going along and overtaking some of them.
Yeah.
And then have you got what was my run after the sled? Have you got that?
Sled push. 309, was it?
Yeah. And what was the one before that?
3 on the dot.
3 on the dot. Okay, so a little bit slower.
Oh no, wait a minute. No, sorry. That's Jack. So 324 on the sled push, and then 322 after the skis. Only 2 seconds different. After the pull was 9 seconds slower, 3 seconds slower burpees. Bit slower after the row, but then you sped up massively again after farmer's carry. Your last run, I can't tell because that was a long one, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So it's like you got quicker. Like you've run after the farmer's carry was actually, up there with the first 2 or 3 runs. So I don't know if you just started to get your second wind a little bit too late in the race, but
yeah. So So after the push, still kind of okay, and then it was when I got to the pull. So what was my pull, like 7 minutes or something?
Yeah, 6:56, which is definitely an area because like we compared it, didn't we, to our friend who got sub 1 hour 10, which is definitely not. I know it seems like a long way away, but there's loads of minutes lost on them last few stations with the hammy. But like that's the station, which surprised me a little bit because when I watched you do the sled pull, you are pretty good at it. Like I know you're not. How heavy are you?
About 80.
Yeah, so you're not like the
Twice my body weight.
Yeah, you're not like, and the strength stuff is like relatively like new, isn't it? So it's just like it doesn't just happen in 6 months strength training. Like it takes like five years. Like some of our bigger lads in the gym, like the 95 kilo people, they make that just look like it's nothing. They just rag it around. And for you, that's an area to really, really work on. Like you're not saying to get up to 90 kilo, but like any increases in muscle mass and increases in like the neurological side of things, the strength kind of things is going to help with that pull. And that would be an area if we go into pro again, is something to pick apart because like Jack was 408, you were 6:56. So like there's definitely there's a couple of minutes you could find there.
Jack said that the pull was rough for him as well, actually. So I remember, and I got there and I went to move it and I was like, oh, I know what it means. But Jack's probably like 2.5 inches taller than me as well.
Yeah,
and obviously he's closer to 90 kilos.
Well, your push was pretty much the same. There was like no time difference between you. So you were going real well there. Well, I don't know, maybe if you did where by going unbroken, you just pushed a little bit too far and it took a while to recover after that. You just peaked a little bit because it is trying to always stay away from going above that threshold, isn't it, and peaking. It's hard to return. But then your run wasn't bad after the sled push. That's what confused me a lot of it because like your runs were never like that dissimilar. Like you always seem to like it's like 15 seconds between you
Yeah.
quick and slow. It's not massive difference.
And like I say, and that wasn't focusing on speed. It was literally focusing on my heart rate. I was looking at my watch and I was going, right, where am I at? Can I push it a bit more? Can I? So and
So
then,
could you have pushed it a bit more though? So I know you're a
well,
dated
this,
man, but sometimes you got to
yeah. Well, this is it.
go.
I don't know. It's hard without knowing that limit. You know, I could have pushed it harder, and then because before, if we take the pull out of it and the hamstring injury, that could have all worked out pretty well.
I know that is the thing, because like the sandbag lunges, like you're not a 7-minute 30 sandbag lunger, are you? Like that's just like, were you doing that more on the non-injured leg? Were you doing more steps on the non-injured leg? Did you say? I can't remember what you text me now.
Yeah. So I started, you know, steady Eddie, just kind of taking little breaks in between because I knew it's obviously my nemesis. And then I got about 40% in.
Yeah.
And I did feel just a little bit of a weakness in my eccentric lower on my right side as you hit your foot, and then you kind of, obviously you've got to control that lower. Well,
yeah.
in theory, some people just smash into the thing. I mean, it was a very hard surface, so you couldn't do that anyways.
Knees, doesn't it? It's such a
I know.
stupid
I don't know why they
design.
don't have that padded.
Yeah, I don't. It's like smashing your knee off it because you're tired, aren't you?
Yeah, and I just noticed a little bit of a weakness, and then interesting actually. I should know on the other side, I did notice, and this was before I switched to just single leg, if you will. I did actually notice the ability for me to produce force from the bottom position, if you will. So if my left knee is on the floor, that kind of, you know, where it kind of like, feel like it's kind of is like a bit of an adductor, kind of. There's something on like that inside where I'm pushing out, where I could feel it just kind of, you know. So interesting, almost opposites. Eccentric on the right, and concentric on the left seem to be a little bit weaker. So, and then I was like, okay, I probably did another 20%, and then I realized I was like, shit, I can't continue on this, otherwise I'm going to snap my hamstring or something. So I said to the matey boy, I was like, can I finish on one leg? So yeah, did that, and that was rough. I mean, I was pretty impressed with my left knee that I could actually complete it with yeah.
It's going to set the rest of the workout up to failure. It's going to have like such an overload in one leg to then try and run on it. What was your run after the lunge? What actually was you running pace after the lunges? Do you know? Because it's 5 minutes 32, but obviously.
Oh, it definitely would have been a little bit slower. Because and again, it's a shame I didn't have the videos, but I'll upload them later on or something to Instagram, and you can have a look. But yeah, you could definitely see on my last run, I started to run a bit got a bit of a granddad run going on.
Yeah, just hobbling. Because then your wall balls, hell, you're still doing them now, aren't you? If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Oh mate, I honestly, it was awful. It was
that is your baby as well. You love it. You've done 100 unbroken before, haven't you? I know it's a 9, but I watched you do them with a 9, and it's like, it's not that you did like an EMOM 10 there, haven't you? And that's like, that is not you to a T.
And I think, and it was like, I was doing 3 at one point, or just 3, because it was the first time since maybe I was like a real beginner. Oh, actually, I mean, I did blow up on Birmingham 2 years ago, on the regular wall balls, pretty bad. And like the ball was just hitting me in the face and stuff. I've just completely gone. But it was the first time where I was like, what am I doing here? This is awful. And I had to close my eyes and just have a fucking moment, because I was like, this is really hard. And obviously it's so overstimulating, isn't it? When you're at the end there, and it's like fucking all the shouting and the music, and it's just like, I was trying to we're just in training. I was trying to it's just a training session, but it's so hard when you're so overstimulated. But one of the things, and I don't know whether they're a bit faddy, but I don't know what you thought about like seated throws, but I did notice like my accuracy was letting me down big. So quite often my first throw would be a no rep.
Yeah.
So you think about what that does to you as well. It mentally, when
God,
you're starting off your next set and you go, that didn't
it
count.
gets me properly angry.
Yeah.
Seeing it, man.
So yeah, it was rough. I mean, any other which stations we've gone over there? So we did
The red flags
push.
are sled pull, lunges, and wall balls. Lunges and wall balls, I feel like it's hard to overanalyze because you tweaked your hammy. The sled pull you
Yeah,
hadn't, so that is one that we just need to nail. Lunges and wall balls, it's kind of pointless because you could go and do those again today. Well, not, like when your hamstrings recovered, and you might like
might be all
what
right.
the wall balls for you. There's got to be 2.5 minutes there that you'd find. Like 7-minute wall balls is definitely not out of the question. And on the
Mm-hmm.
lunges, probably another couple of minutes. So it's just like 4.5 minutes you'd save just on those last stations from just being healthy. And then the time starts to change, don't they? You get more towards the 117s, and then
Mm.
burpee broad jumps was a little bit slow, but not massively. A little bit slower than what you could do.
I think on that. I think what I noticed before the race actually is because I've been fanning around with different burpee techniques, doing doubles and stuff, and learning the like shuffle thing. What I realized was that the week before I was like, well, the kneel up method, which got me a good time in Glasgow, is the most efficient and least sexy. But I'd not really done that many of them because every session is a doubles class or whatever, and
Yeah,
like you look like a complete gimp if you're doing the kneel up method. I've done it a few times in the class, and everyone there is exploding out of the jump and stuff. But I
yeah,
think
yeah,
probably I just needed to drill that movement over and over and over to get a bit more efficient at it. Actually, in terms of like, I felt like pretty chill just going through them. I didn't stop. I just went all the way through, but a little bit more efficiency and uh, just time of practicing those and getting a bit quicker at the kneel up method. Um, I think will get me to Glasgow sort of speed pretty quickly.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I suppose if you think of like my thoughts are if you the first break in the chain or the first thing to break down is the biggest leverage move, isn't it? It's the like sort of the pull has to be priority, would you say? Because that could
Yeah,
have fucked everything. Because I do think that we didn't mention this actually, so I don't know if I've told you, but because it was so hard to pull, and then I did notice I shifted my weight on one of them, and I was like just pushing through my right foot, like on its side, and whether that started to fatigue that hamstring,
yeah, yeah.
um, is probably a thing. But
It's like a heavy reverse sled toe, isn't it? It is very much going to get it. You can often feel that like that hamstring contracting really hard, especially in that
yeah,
first pull where it's like contracting isometrically. It is going to go, and you might just have torn a few fibers there, and you don't realize because the adrenaline's as high as it'll ever be in your life, and then it starts to flare up a little bit when you're really taking it. Like lunges is very, very hamstring dominant in certain positions, and you get that high hamstring like under your ass. I always feel it like that high hamstring tendon usually goes
yeah.
from the
Phoebe said it was is it goose foot? Have you heard of that?
don't think I have.
Hang on, she sent me the actual like it's basically like the like bit of adductor, bit of hamstring.
Okay,
So like high up and
yeah,
on the inside, if you will. Um, pes pes anserinus or goosefoot, apparently.
good.
Um,
That sounds more fun, doesn't it?
yeah. But it would be remiss of me to not to mention we've not really spoke about this, but I was pretty gutted after the race And one of the things I was thinking is pro just too much? And I was thinking, do I just go back to open? Am I fighting against genetics with, just because like there's obviously a point, isn't there, which the weight of the station versus ratio towards your weight of your body becomes like ridiculous. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, because
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the sled pull on the open, like I nailed that technique, and it's all like, it's good to have good technique, but at a certain point when those plates get added, it just, there's all like tipping point, isn't it? I guess what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think you can look at that one or two ways. Like if you were going like physiologically, you are more suited to open. You're a lighter individual. Running is a key strength for you. The open weights aren't going to affect that as much. But it's not just about how well you do. It's why you're doing it. So like, what do you get most reward from doing it? Like you're not gonna be in the elite 15, you're like
Mm,
elite 20 maybe. But you just like, why are you doing HYROX? Like, you're doing it because you absolutely love the training, you love the community, and you love competing. Like, what do you get more satisfaction from doing? So if you want to get the best time you possibly could do, and relatively against other people as well, that would be
mm,
probably the open. Because,
mm,
but if you want to challenge yourself, it's like going RX in CrossFit, isn't it? Like if
mm,
I go RX, I'm going to do a lot worse than if I went scaled or intermediate. But I wouldn't go scaled or intermediate because I'm not challenging myself as much. So it depends on like your like psychology. How do you look at it? What do you want to get from HYROX really? And then you decide what you want to do. That's like, what do you do? Doubles or solo? I do doubles because I prefer the crack. Like I
mm.
love doing stuff as a team, even though open would probably push me to more. I just do doubles because I enjoy it more, and it probably
Yeah,
suits me better. I prefer the go hard rest rather than that sustained high intensity effort. I'm crap at that. So
tracks a bit more across
yeah,
fit, doesn't it?
so I think like your point is definitely valid. Open would like suit you more, but depends why you're doing it. Really, it's not just about the best place you can come and your time. There's more to it than
Mm.
that.
Yeah, it's a funny one, and it's a weird one to reflect on. I think cause the end of last season, and I did that 105, whatever it was, 105, 40, 50 something,
Mm.
and I was like, oh, quite good at this. And then I
You are good at this.
probably was like, oh, so right, so now you can't qualify for Worlds in Open, so let's go up to the Pro.
Yeah,
And I think that's probably why. But I do think maybe it is. It's so hard to like balance that enjoyment and competitive nature of, and another thing like to mention is like, I must admit, in terms of this last period, certainly the last 4 to 5 months, I've not been as obsessed with training as I have in the past because I've been focusing on other areas of my life.
yeah.
There's,
That's something I wanted to talk to you about as well, actually. And I like that as well. It's absolutely fine. Like sometimes you would text me saying like, I'm struggling today. Work is just manic. And I always think you've got two choices as a coach. You can just be like, no, that's bullshit. You've got to go to the gym now. It's 8:30. Get there. But like I own businesses and it's hard. Like
Mhm,
work just takes over, and like there's no way I'm going to say that like HYROX doesn't pay the bills. Like work
mhm,
does and family does. Like that they're the ones who are going to support you through tough times, not a HYROX session. So I completely get it. Like sometimes, if you're not saying you're being soft, but sometimes if clients are being just a bit like, they do need a kick up the ass, like, come on, get there.
yeah,
But I don't think that to you. I think you've had your car, but it didn't work, so you couldn't actually get there, and then you've had
yeah,
projects on and work's just busy in it. So there has been missed sessions, which other people who are 25, no families, no, like they're just working, it's just ticking a box. They can train twice a day,
mhm.
but it doesn't work for every man, this dog, does it? And this last 4 months I've noticed that a little bit within you, but I've just not. I just get it. Just get it. Works. Just gets tough. Gets on top of you. So yeah, I was hoping we were going to discuss this.
If you're anything like me, you're probably good at starting habits, but fail to stick to them over the long term. There's probably one or two, whether that be going to the gym or taking the dog for a walk, but struggle to maintain others around career, relationship, or life goals. If you're a long-term listener of the podcast, this won't be the first time you've heard me talk about habits and leveraging public accountability. That's why I created InDeep, the tool that helps you build healthy habits and stick to them. After creating your free account, you'll be given your own personal public profile link, which you can share with your friends, your family, coach, or followers. And when someone clicks that link, you'll be given a real-time notification that someone is watching your habits. I can't tell you how much of a motivator it is when you're stuck in a procrastination cycle and this little eyeball pops up with a number next to it. My productivity has gone through the roof since I started using it. It's that effective. Luckily for you, I'm giving away 100 free VIP months to my podcast listeners. There's no credit card required. Head to indeep.com/podcast. That's deep with 2 I's, INDIIP.com/podcast, or follow the links in the episode description below. Let's start crushing our habits today. Yeah, I think. Have you ever seen that? There's a meme where it's like a reel, and I think it's Arnold Schwarzenegger in some film, and it's like in the 70s. He's super young, and he's driving down whatever Hollywood Boulevard or something like that. The wind's in his hair or whatever, and he's drinking something, and he's looking absolutely manic. His muscles are bulging, and it's got this caption, and it goes, "Me driving at the gym on 500 milligrams of caffeine while my life blows up in flames."
Yeah.
And it's like, and I remember sharing that like 12 to 18 months ago, joking, but that was kind of the truth. Like,
Yeah.
I was so obsessed with HYROX, and then, but in terms of like, and don't get me wrong, like my work performance has always been good or whatever, but there was issues and stuff where I was just like, fuck it, I don't care because I love HYROX. And that's cool because people do it to escape or whatever. But I think this year has been a bit more of a like high level performance in other areas, but then also just trying to keep up with HYROX.
Yeah.
So I think it's what I like about training for the pro is, as someone who is not naturally very strong, it's like forcing the standard to be higher for myself. I suppose I do wonder whether the load is risky for injuries, or is it just a case of, well, if I just never train open, I always train pro because that's what we do, will my body just get used to it? Or is there a point where, I don't know, like...
Well, it's like what we talked about before. You just got to bridge the gap. Like, it's not just saying if you do pro, the heavy weights, you'll get injured. If you take the time building up to being accustomed to those weights, they'll soon become how the open weights feel, and then you move up another gear. So it's just progressive overload, really. It's just the basics of training. Like, you've just got to build up to that 30 kilo lunge, and sometimes you just get an injury. It's just, you can't really overthink it. Like, Man United have got the best medical team on the planet pretty much, haven't they? And they get injuries every day. Arsenal, they've got about 50 players gone. They've got the best sports scientists and all physios, and all they do is read every research under the sun, and they can't prevent injuries. Like, it's just sometimes after you slightly overstretch, a little bit of fatigue going in, whatever, nutrition, sleep, weird day as well. I forgot to even focus on the fact that you're in the cinema 3 hours before. I can't figure out if that's good or bad. I don't think that's good. But like,
I did notice your face. I was like, when I was saying that one.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I get it because he's gone there to be relaxed and switch off. But I just think I'd be knackered. I've never come out of the cinema like
what
alert.
Were you thinking? Oh, so you're thinking like it might have put me into to relax the state, or
I genuinely don't know. Like that, yeah, that is what I was thinking. But it's just a stupid time, isn't it? Was it 8:40? Like, why the hell did you have to race then? Money grabbing sods, aren't they? Right.
Yeah, it's that. Oh, that's a really good point actually. That's the downside of pro. Men's pro is always late. When I did my Glasgow, I think it was the same time. I think it was 8:30 when I did my Glasgow pro.
Yeah.
but that was rough. I set off from Ulverston at like 2 p.m., drove to Glasgow, raced at like 8 o'clock, did my whatever, warmed up, whatever I did, came back the same night. I drove there and back with my mate. And then by the time we got back, because I remember like there was nowhere open for food, we stopped off at a McDonald's on the motorway. By the time I got home, it was like 5 a.m. and I'd done my first HYROX Glasgow Pro. Surprise, surprise, I got really ill afterwards. The one positive, actually, injuries aside, my central nervous system has felt the best it's ever after HYROX.
Right.
Like normally I get like dry lips and like, you know, you feel like you've been on the sesh or something. And yeah, it's weird. And I don't know what that's down to. I don't know whether like I have done some fasting this week. So I know obviously we can talk about that if you want. So whether that's changed things or it could be because I was so much later, I didn't have as much caffeine as I
Yeah.
normally would. So if I was racing at 12 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever, I'd probably have like 800 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
Whereas in the evening, I probably had maybe 300, 400. It wasn't. So maybe that could be an effect. Even though, to be
Yeah.
fair, we didn't get to bed till like 4 o'clock in the morning that night because we sat up chatting.
It could be that. It's like it could just be the increase in strength that you've got. Like the studies do show that stronger and fitter athletes recover quicker. So it might just be the fact. Like I don't think necessarily your fitness is massively different to previous months, but like strength's definitely up. So it could just be that, just generally stronger. I don't actually know the exact mechanisms of how that works, but could just be it improves strength and fitness with it all, really. And
Yeah,
or maybe even just your mindset with it all, just a bit like you
bit
said,
more used to it.
it's not taken over your life like it has previously, and you're able to switch off a little bit. Whereas you might have just thought like 6 days of just like being depressed, like I didn't get the time I wanted. This is shit. I'm not doing this. Whereas you're a bit more like things didn't go to plan. Is what it is. Like still had a good weekend away with friends or whatever, and hopefully you're like driven to improve next time. Like a little bit of redemption kind of stuff. It definitely did with me when I did my HYROX the other day with Les, and just like I can't bother doing excuses because if I put excuses in, everyone hammers me. But it just didn't go as well as the previous one, and like it hasn't done anything negatively to me. I've trained real hard for the last 3 weeks. I've absolutely loved training again. I think I needed like it. You cannot turn up to an event, not train properly, and expect to get a better time. Like that doesn't work, especially when I'm going the wrong way now. I'm like 33. Maybe when you're 20s, you can do that. But now it's like, you got to train. If you want, no stopping you doing real well, but you've got to train. I didn't train. But this last few weeks, yeah, train hard. So hopefully it does the same for you. Like, didn't get the time you want. It's not the end of the world. Get cracking
Yeah,
again. Like, get improving health, performance, everything like that. And that's what it did with me. So hopefully it does the same with you.
yeah. And I suppose like another element to this is it's also very early in the season. So
True.
like the only like my best times have always come like after Christmas.
Yeah,
But
that's true. That's what this was, wasn't it?
yeah,
Like
and
a sim.
like my Birmingham times have never been amazing, and that was only 2 months ago. I've never done a HYROX in December. This is usually my kind of whatever season, pissing around in between. So I think that is something to think about as well.
Definitely.
I must admit I was feeling a bit sorry for myself, and you did, you posting that thing where you said it stinks of a redemption story. I did admit I was like maybe it's the public thing because of my fucking weird need for validation. Where I was like, oh yeah, redemption story. I like the sound of that.
It was Charlie who messaged me. You know, Charlie, he's always, we're us three are always talking HYROX, aren't we? And like, he
Yeah,
was just saying, like, that's all it is. And I was like, yeah, it's a good point, man. It's just like, you can't dwell on it, can you? It's it's only flipping HYROX. Like
Mm,
it's not the end of the world. We'll just go again, won't we? Like it gives you that redemption, and you can log it. And loads of people go through the same thing. Not everybody just gets better, 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 better. Like you always have peaks and troughs, don't you? And as you say, this was just like it was a guide. It's flagged up 3 or 4 major things to not major, but main focal points of future phases. Like you're going to get more bang for your buck improving the stations looking at than you are like you could find 15 seconds a run that'll save you like
mm,
2 minutes. What quick maths. But you could find 2 minutes on one station by not pulling your hamstring. So like it's better. Just I think looks like station strong is going to be the
mm.
main focal points moving forwards.
On that heart rate thing. So
Yeah.
I know obviously there are a few sort of like tests that you can do without having to draw blood and stuff, but like, what do you think we could do to simulate or test that to like what would a good test experiment look like if we were to go like, right, let's try let's try like 165 sitting at that, and like how does that affect your station? Does that make sense? Is that any thoughts on how we could do that?
I, I think if you wanted like to be realistic, like getting accurate testing data would be the way to go. So it would make sense because they're not even that hard to do. Like you could get like the lactate testing kits. I'm sure they're not that much, but just go into a lab to figure out your actual accurate data makes sense because that's what always worries me about like using the watches. Like you're going off 164, but you were in an arena. Like the signals aren't great, and like what do you do if that's wrong? Like it just doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
loads of sense using inaccurate data. Like things like threshold. Like threshold is defined as your zone 4. It's like what you can maximally sustain for 30 minutes, isn't it? So you can kind of just you don't even really need to predict that. You can kind of just you don't need to test. You can kind of just predict that anyway, based off kind of like other tests like 5K and 10K. But I think
Well, that's what I
zone
did. That's what I got ChatGPT to do. Actually, I gave it my half marathon, which was fairly recent.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, 130, I'm 36, or whatever, and then it kind of estimated it off that.
What did it say it was?
It said my hard limit was. Let's see what it actually said. I'll tell you now.
Because if like, threshold being 30 minutes, like what max you can sustain for that, your 5K is like, let's just say 20 minutes and your 10K is 40 minutes. So you'd kind of like your 7.5K for you wouldn't be far off your 30 minutes, but it's kind of like what pace could you sustain for that 30-minute period, which is probably somewhere around the a little bit quicker maybe, isn't it? 3:55. 4-minute pace. It's not going to be
Yeah,
too different from that, is it? For threshold, I would say,
yeah,
because your 5K is down towards 18 when you're at your peak, isn't it? So something along those lines, like 5K plus 10 to 15 seconds, wouldn't be too far off. Zone 3 is usually more like 10 seconds on top of your 10K, but it is quite different because that's your 60-minute, where some people can hold, what they do like 20K in 60 minutes. So it's a completely different for every
yeah.
person, really. But I think simulating that kind of thing would be the way to go. Running around that pace, going into the stations, and then building volume at that.
Yeah, it said here, you want a hard conservative ceiling, something you can stick to. Da, da, da. Skip the lab test. I get it to talk to me like really
Yeah.
direct. Here's the number: 155 to 160 BPM max. Why this works for you? You're 36, trained, running a 135 half. Likely have an LTHR somewhere around 165 to 170. So
Which is fine, but like, what if your watch isn't telling you the right heart rates? Like, I think
but
that
I am using a strap though, remember?
you are, but they've
I am
still
on my
got like
Polar.
inaccuracies. Yeah,
Yeah. And that was pretty steady. Like if I seen it like bouncing all over the shop, like I'd have been, but because I was able to and if I looked at my running paces and they were really off,
yeah.
and I was going to I'd be like, oh, okay, but I don't know, I felt like felt pretty accurate in terms of it was pretty stable. It wasn't flying up, or because I had an alert set up when I went over, and it only went up on occasion on the stations, which I'd baked in to the plan. Um, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to like heart rate here, like
I do like the idea of it, like, because it keeps you under control, doesn't it? Even from a pacing perspective, it stops you going out too hard. I just don't like the fact that it just could be inaccurate and you could have something left in the tank and you've got to finish with
mm,
nothing left, not thinking that you could do any more anywhere else. And I think it's that
mm,
trade off of just like making sure that you're not too conservative throughout, because you can just lose time as you go
mm,
through it. But with HYROX so often, people go out too hard and they die, don't they? So I think even if it was inaccurate, at least it's keeping you a little bit in check to be able to push on later, maybe. So probably
uh,
pros and cons to
yeah,
it.
and it's a bit like when you and there's probably is some psychology to this, but when someone will say, right, do a ski at 210 pace or whatever for 1,000 meters, or they say do a ski at RP7,
Hmm.
and they might be they might feel the same, but actually the RP7 ends up being faster because you're perceiving it to feel less because you're not worried about the time. And it
Yeah,
does feel a bit like that on the runs where I'm kind of like, I was like, because I'm consciously looking to bring my fucking heart rate down rather than just focus on pace, if that makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like you say, pros and cons either way. And because I did message the guys at Red On, and they're moving at the moment, so that it was like, oh, we'll get you in once you move. So they've moved. So I don't know when that's going to be, but whether, yeah, I was,
Field tests aren't too far away, though, are they? Like, what I was telling you about when my master's tutor, he's written a book. It's literally the main strength and conditioning for runners, and he was just saying most good runners, they know that transition point, like they know how it feels, and the talk tests and things like that are relatively accurate for them. When he does bloods and he asks them, he links it up. So
mm,
with threshold being like you can say a couple of words, like VO2 max can't say a thing, that's it. Whereas in that threshold, you can say a couple of words. That's kind of not too far off being accurate. And then as you go down tempo, it's like you could say a few things and then catch your breath and then go again. You're not going to be a million miles away and going off feel
yeah,
with us. But I think like what you said, like that you when you're doing your runs in HYROX and you're looking at your watch and then you're trying to bring that down, that would just flag my head because it's not going to drop. Like, unless I slow down, I would just, even if I saw it high, it would get me. It would affect me. It did that on the half marathon. It was like
right,
150. I thought I'm in control. And it just went 195. And even though I know that's impossible, you can't just gain 45 beats in a second.
mm,
And it must have just lost signal and then gained signal. And it proper put me off. It made me feel tired. And I just thought, oh, fuck this. I wish I hadn't worn a watch. Like, it's just
interesting.
annoying me. So there's
Yeah, I
definitely some.
like honestly, it does the opposite for me. It's weird.
All
I,
right.
I, I feel really. It doesn't stress me out at all. I don't know whether it's because I spend a lot of time doing meditation, stuff like that. So I'm kind of used to that autonomic kind of shifting. A bit of like I've done so much of it. It really does feel. I don't know. Like like it doesn't make me feel anxious. It actually makes me feel relaxed,
Yeah.
which
Is
is
it stopping you running faster, though?
whereas
Is
it
it?
stop me running faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes
Uh,
you just got to go, haven't you? Like,
yeah. I mean, after we said about that run after the farmer's carry, and like that, I felt really good at that point. And actually, I thought then I was maybe still on for like sub 110. Because I went. That was probably the slowest I've actually ran the farmer's carries because I usually absolutely belt it. Like
yeah.
absolutely fucking. But I was like, I'm going to slow down what we talked about. And I just like went past all these big boys that are dropping the dropping them all over the spot, and it was a piece of cake.
Nice.
But then I think because of that, then it's a confidence thing. Then I started to pick up my pace a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It could have just been a different story with the lunges and the wall balls if they hadn't gone like you weren't going to get a 110 at that point, but like you could have been closer towards 16, 17s, and it's like
Mm.
that'd have been like but it just didn't. The last three, the run, wall ball, lunge, just 5-6 minutes gone in them very little bloody sections, which is tedious. But it's just an injury. Like another day, you'd have been fine, really, because it was weird that your 7th run was one of the quickest ones. Like, it doesn't sound like fatigue, and then unless you
Mm.
just absolutely went balls to the wall on that one and then created too much fatigue for the end. But it's unlikely at that stage. You'd probably started to settle in, and then it's
Yeah.
a little hammy tweak, and the rest was history, really. And I was like, but yeah, that's HYROX.
Yeah, I think one of the things I was thinking about was in terms of us, that strategy. We spoke about station strength. Not done, done much on the bike, which we've spoken about, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get myself a bike, and then it never really happens or whatever. But I think in terms of trying to gather some of that time in the sort of zone 1, zone 2 bike stuff,
Yeah,
um,
so
if you agree, would be worthwhile. And I was actually thinking, because my job's pretty flexible, I'm like, I could probably have meetings on the bike and just and it's probably good because I'm not going to get too out of breath because you want to be in that zone. It's probably a good
yeah,
way to figure out. So I'm like, if I can just start adding a few of them in a week, that's going to help my aerobic base, isn't it?
definitely. Yeah, I think like volume's a big driver of success, isn't it? And that being like off feet and no impact, it's a good way of just bumping up your training volume with probably minimal fatigue, really. So I think that's a good way. Like I remember one of the main physiologists on out these days, like Alan Cousins. I like his stuff, and he put like the best thing a runner can buy is a bike. Like obviously, there's more to it than that, but I quite like
Mm.
the ethos behind that sentence. Really, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like just building the load, no impact, build a massive zone 2 base, and then it's not going to interfere with the rest of your training. So yeah, I
So
like it.
I really don't like the zone 2 runs. I know it's like it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? But I don't know. I just feel like, especially now, I feel like I feel more sore sometimes off doing a zone 2 run than a regular run.
Yeah,
Because I don't know, because I'm not relaxing. Because like most people, if they run in a relaxed manner, like they're probably tipping into that threshold, aren't they? Because you're opening your stride up a little bit. It's just a bit more. But when you're doing like the plodding, I don't know about you, but like I wonder like if that has a detrimental effect because I'm not running in a natural pace or whatever. And we spoke a little bit about running form and stuff, and that's a whole other
yeah, topic. I think your
topic.
zone 2 work, the main benefit of it is it generally doesn't create as much fatigue, maybe from a central nervous system perspective, that
Yeah.
you're going to get the benefit. So you can just crack on the next day. Like the top, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the biggest driver of improvement. Like if you're going to do one run a week, intensity probably is going to be the
Yes.
way to go, unless you were trying to build up actually getting better at longer running kind of thing. But
Mhm.
if you're like, the top marathon runners in the world doing 160 kilometers a week or whatever, 100-mile weeks plus, like they're only going to have a small percentage, like probably under 10%, that is in those really high heart rate zones, just because you couldn't sustain that day to day
Mhm.
to day. So that's why volume is massive for them, because it allows them to just repeatedly train and get the adaptations that way. But both like high intensity and low zone stuff lead to improvements within the cell. But you just can't do it day after day after day. But we're not exactly running loads at the moment anyway with your knee.
Mm.
So you could probably make the point for, if you were getting loads of zone 2 work on the bike, you could probably do 2 high intensity. But the thing is, you end up with HYROX. If you did 2 high intensity runs, like a VO2 max interval session and then a tempo block run or something, you're always going to do classes. Now, this time of year, though, like my
Mm.
classes at the gym don't really have much running in because you can't predict the weather. But in the peak of like summer, you might end up doing like 2 more conditioning sessions. Both have compromised running in. And it's just like zone 4, zone 4, zone 4 every single time you run, and you end up having 4 intense sessions for
Yeah.
something good. Because the classes are intense because it's a cock
Yeah.
off, isn't it? You're going to
Yeah.
race. But at the gym, I'm like, the weather's so icy at the moment, or pissing down and windy, and I feel like I've got a duty of care to members to not be sending them out in classes sometimes. So I'm just going to adapt the classes at the moment. If it's nice, like today's quite nice, isn't it? We're training
Yeah.
in a minute. We can go out and do some running. I probably won't today because of your foot, but like we could go out. Whereas sometimes it's just pissing down, isn't it? And
Yeah.
bringing loads of water to the gym gets slippy, dangerous, and you just risk injury. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think probably just on the running volume stuff, probably would be good for me to be a bit more intentional in terms of like just checking in and tell you my numbers for the week. Like just watching that, like, and as well, because we talk a bit about the social element and stuff, and it's like sometimes I get invited for a run, I'm like, oh no, I can't go off plan or whatever, but I'm like, a social run at 8K probably feels as relaxed as a solo 5K.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's just so much a lighter lift, isn't it? Forgive the analogy,
That's just
but
communication as well. That's just like your plan is set around your week. So like you can move your week around. We can move like we have done in the past, the strength session to another day. And then to put that running on that day, and then you just don't do that style run when we'd initially planned it. You just move it around. Like as long as we're kind of like following the like strength day, and then like the next day a bit more conditioning focus, and we're not like interfering. But even if you did interfere a little bit, it's still getting the work done, and it's still going to lead to improvements. It's sometimes impossible to set up the optimal training week, really. And like, you've got Stockholm, haven't you? Next week, you're still doing that, aren't you?
yeah, we've not even spoken about that. That's a week tomorrow, but
yeah, it's like you're not even going to get much
flying on Wednesday.
Yeah, I thought that. So I've just programmed you in another taper week, but once you get back from there, we can actually set up the new structure for how we can move forward with that, which is probably worth we could do another little behind the scenes video of that going into like how we set up. Because I think people will find that interesting, like why we don't do this with that day and why we think it's best to do this on this day and whatever. And then people know how to like call it a microcycle, which is the week how to create a microcycle, which is important, really knowing what to do on what days, kind of thing. But again, we're still basing it around the real world with life and work and whatnot. So it's never going to be optimal, but it's the best we can do for your situation, which is what it's about, really.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be good. All right, shall we? What time are we training?
As soon as we can get, I'm going to go set off in now. So as soon as you can get there, really. I've got to look at a T unit to have a look at a leg press and stuff afterwards. So as long as we're done I'm not after a big session anyway, and you've got your dodgy thing. So if we start at like 10:15, done for, just after 11, that'll work. Well, I just get something in the books.
Yeah. I'll probably make sense to do bike and avoid lunges.
Well, I think it's just me and you. Paul and Dave are already down there doing a session. So they're going to leave it on the board. So we'll just do bike, farmers, anything that's paying free we'll do, and just mash up a session together.
Cool. All right, mate. Well, we'll do the last little bit. If anyone wants to find out more about your stuff, where do they go?
Instagram mainly. So got two kind of avenues these days. So my online personal stuff is at Paddy Maher S&C, and then the gym I own is Industry 13. We've got hybrid, because you can't say HYROX before you get penalised. Hybrid classes, CrossFit classes. You can't even say that either. Not CrossFit classes. We do stuff. Turn up and we do stuff. That's Industry 13. Yeah.
Cool. I'll put all that in the description. Cheers for this, and I'll see you shortly.
See you later, matey.
Bye. Hey guys, it's me. Just a quick one before you get going. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, you can check out links to my guests via the episode description below. And a reminder to claim your free VIP pass month at InDeep. Go to indeep.com/podcast. That's INDIIP.com/podcast. If you're looking to improve your life and build habits, I really think you're going to love this tool. All links are in the episode description. Thanks for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.